Hello, welcome YouTube to jseeb1. This is episode number 38. Today's going to be a wisdom day about power lines and power distribution systems and underground power systems. Well, let's get into it. Those big green boxes that have the fins on the back. Like that. Hold on. Well, they're big green boxes that say, don't know where you guys, in the United States, especially Iowa, we have something called Mid-American Energy. This is how it's spelled. And I am aware of dark time hours, which is half price electricity. But we don't have that in the Mid-American Energy. We have full price, no matter what hour it is. It's a set rate depending on what you guys use, if we're on a payment plan, stuff like that. Now let's dig in. Let's look at the most common utility pole. There's 4 wires. And then one wire higher than the other. Then usually there's this transformer. Then there's these big lug nuts. Then usually that's wrapped up in a type of cable. Well, let's get into each part. But in this case, I'm drawing this out because some places have this, some places that don't. Well, there. This one's, depending on which country you guys are in. The United States. Don't know what the U.S., don't know what Africa and all those other countries are. Well, in the U.S., the top prime one, a normal residential, voltages. Meaning, normal household current. Coming through there is 110 and 220. VAC, 15 to 40 amps. Well, that's the normal residential voltage. Here's that's called an SRF, or that stands for self resetting fuse. And that's what this little thing, and usually there's a little key hook there. Then that's called a step down transformer. Then that comes up and goes, or directly connected to that. Then that goes into the main breaker panel. Some of you guys got different types of system, but this is for the USA or other 110 VAC carrying wires. You guys could have different. I'll be doing a video on the different ones because all I know is the US right now. But basically, we have something called Yeah, it's working on a project there. You guys will see that in a little bit. Hold on while I try and clean this. Because there's this big mudding spot right there. See? Well, in our phases we have four wires coming through our 220. I think that's what ours looks like. These two are the primary hots, which means that's the positive, which is both carrying 110 VAC. The other countries just have 3 wires distribution, which is carrying 220 VAC. Then the earth, then the neutral, which is carrying 0 VAC. Then that's the negative, then that's the earth, or G and D. And if I go get other colors, there's white, of course. But I don't have a white marker, so I'm going to represent white with... Do I have red? Yes, I do. I'm going to represent white with blue. In our country, we have... That's for, like, the dryer plugs, stuff like that. The higher energy and amperage required components. In our country, we have a black line... We have a black line, a red line. That looks kind of pink, but it's red. A green line. Don't know if you guys can see that very well. You guys can't see the green very well, so I'll try and use a darker green. But that's green. Then we have white. The blue's white. Let's pretend that, alright? The writing's just writing. It doesn't matter what kind of connector's in there. The writing doesn't deal with a type of connector. The writing's just the letters. This one's NEG 110 Earth and 110. So these two phases are connected in the breaker box. That breaker box giving out 220. So then separated between these two lines, which gets connected again inside your load. Then the metal's earth. reference. Then that goes back down to the negative line. That's how that wiring goes. But normal 110 outlets, 220 outlets look like, depends on which one. Some of them look like this. That's what 220 looks like sometimes, or sometimes it looks like this, or sometimes it looks like this. That's what it all looks like. All these are 220 VAC. And then this one's like a 30 amp, 40 amp, 60 amp. This all depends on the circuit you're running. But the all 110s look the same. Besides this other one. That's a 20 amp, and that's a 15 amp. And both of these are 110 VAC. This pin's earth. That's the negative. And then that one's the positive. Wait, hold on. I got a plug over here. I got a plug in my little conjunction box. This is what a plug-in looks like in the US. You've probably seen those around. They're called receptacles. If we come in, it says 110, 125 VAC, 15 amp. That's what these are rated for. And they connect to... You've probably seen these cords around also. There's one. But this ain't a good description of what it looks like on the inside. This is a connector. It's a 3-pin one-phase connector. And that connects into this. See? Then those are electrically connected. You could use it for 12 volts, but it's highly unrecommended because AC acts different than DC. See? There. Now back to our board. Let me just erase all this. Now back to the utility pole. Now let's talk about the underground versions of it. Underground, you got one of these big boxes. You got a pole up here. I'm not going to draw out all the wires. Then you got the building over here. The wires run down from here to a continuity piping. They run down into a continuity pipe. This side's the primary. Then this side's the secondary. And that runs off to the building. And then that serves the same function as those pole top transformers. That you see on the poles. Only difference is that serves bigger amperage and all that. Then this side divides off into 3 nubs. Then there's a 4th wire running down to the screw terminal on the connection. That means that's an earth point. Or as known as a G&D. Then this side's a secondary. There are also 3 connections. They're not all connected though. I'm just showing that for the connection instead of drawing out 4 lines running off into there. Then there's this big breaker switch here. That's called the main switch. Then that runs down to a dry cell transformer. Then that returns back down to the negative line. That takes the 440 and transforms it down to 220. Input is there's 220. No, wait, not 220. $440. And then, no, wait, it's not 440. Duh. It's 18.8 kilovolts down to 440. And then it's as known as a 3-phase connection. In other words, there's 3 positives, 1 earth, and 1 negative. Then that's the same thing on the other connection. But that comes straight down the line, the 18.8 kilovolt. But for reference, 1 kilovolt equals 1,000 volts. Then that steps it down to 440. That's carrying about 1,600 amps on the commercial side, but the residential is carrying 16.6 kilovolts at 800 amps. Even though those wires look insulated, they're only insulated for the weathering. So if you touch a metal pole to them, something, and then you're touching the ground, you will get shocked or burned or killed from it. But there's 3 different types of transmission lines. There's the low voltage, which is the 12.6 kilovolts and below. Then there's the high voltage. No, wait, there's a medium voltage in between. Which is the 16.6 kilovolts. So it's 16.6. No, wait. I wrote that wrong. It's 12.6 to 16.6 kV. Which kV means kilovolts. Well, there's going to be a part 2, YouTube. Thanks for watching. Please rate, comment, subscribe for more videos.